Awesome, great. Okay, so we're going to jump in to the content for today. And Chris, if you go ahead and mute yourself now, or Tara, if you can mute. And we're going to jump in for today. If you are new to Google Meets right now, I want to make sure you orient yourself. And this might be a new platform for you, but for our students from Spring Learning, it's something they've seen before. As you know, we have comments in the top right if you've seen this before, as well as the participants that are here. Go ahead and make sure you've muted yourself, but we also have emojis and ability to raise your hand. At Astor, we teach digital citizenship, and so when we enter rooms, we're muted. We keep our videos on within classroom, but we definitely have a respectful and appropriate environment, just like we want to create within the classroom. And again, I'm Blake, the new principal at Astor, and I couldn't be more excited to join you tonight. I wish it were under different circumstances without us at home, but here we are, and we'll talk a little bit today about what I currently know about the distance learning model for the upcoming school year. We're going to see some potential schedule components for this upcoming school year, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I do know and what I don't know based on the different circumstances that we have right now. You'll learn a little bit about the digital tools that you can anticipate seeing that your students will be able to access, as well as some of the platforms that you'll be able to use to make sure that you can keep track of classroom assignments and also progress for your student. And then, of course, I want to make sure I mention to you student and family supports as well. And throughout this entire presentation, which I'm hoping for only about 25 minutes here of me talking, you'll be able to access this Padlet. You can use a QR code here, but Tara Brown, who's one of our 5th grade teachers, is going to paste that into the comments right now. Thank you, Tara. I heard it. Just to let you all know right now, I actually can't see any of you on grid view or anything like that because I'm presenting my whole screen. So that's some of the limitations of Google Meet, but I'll work around that tonight. And I hope you'll see some of your faces in a moment when I come off of this all sharing view. But first, this is my first time with you, and I'll be in a very different way than I thought it would be. And I want to make sure that you know a little bit about myself. And I couldn't be more excited to join the Astor community as the principal. I am enthusiastic and really excited for the work that we have in front of us, even with all the uncertainty. What you should know about me is I actually was formerly a teacher at Astor. I taught 4th and 5th grade for 2 years. And so I'm really happy to be joining some of the colleagues that I worked with then, and also some of the parents that I worked with then as well. And you should also know about me is I actually have 2 kids at Astor. I have a rising 4th grader and a rising 7th grader. This is my oldest on, it was pretty sad, but it's my last day as a teacher at Astor when she was in 1st grade. But I'm really excited to join her and my youngest daughter again and be at Astor with all of you. And I hope you know I approach all of our students as if they're our kids. And there are a lot of things I want to be true for the upcoming school year. Providing social and emotional supports, creating a welcoming student and school family environment for all of our families, making sure that we have appropriate academic interventions and extensions, and of course, ensuring that school is fun because fun is a really big important part of our kids' school day. Now, also being a parent, I am a little I have a lot of questions as well about this upcoming school year, and so I'm definitely working from that perspective oftentimes. But as the school administrator, I definitely want to make sure that that I get you the information that I have and let you know what information I do have. At Astor, vision has been set around making sure that our students are able to collaborate, be compassionate, are problem solving, and lead a socially just world. And we also have an equity statement which centers us on diversity and celebrating differences with each other, and making sure that we focus on supporting Black students, Indigenous students, and students of color, our Native students, and making sure that we eliminate that achievement gap and opportunity gap that exists. And so some other nuts and bolts pieces, the district communication that you can expect in this upcoming school year. And I want to let you know also that this slideshow will be coming out to you after these meetings. So please don't feel like you have to copy down all these links right now. I get that can be overwhelming. I will be sending you this slide deck to you so that you will have access to this. There's also texting as well. And PPS on this link has established a way to collect questions and also feedback from you all. At Astor, I know you're aware already of the Remind app. You got a Remind notification from me at 5:55 about this meeting invite, and you also probably got a school messenger at 6:05 about the Padlet link that you can hopefully add questions in right now. So your classroom teachers are going to be utilizing this in the upcoming school year to get you that important information. But there's also Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and some, you can also see us online. This video will be posted on our webpage and available to you there. It's also a great place to find other links that are essential throughout the school year. I also want to make sure that I welcome new staff. We have an incredible team that's joining us from out in the Portland Public School District, and I'm really excited to welcome them to school. If this was a typical back to school event or something like that, I would welcome them up to give them a round of applause, but unfortunately, we're not at that place yet. So I do hope, though, that you're able to meet them soon. We'll definitely have some bios coming and the newsletters that are upcoming throughout this fall, and then meet and greets as well. And if you hadn't already seen it, then the newsletter that just recently came out showed you a glimpse of our 2021 school year team. And I couldn't be more excited to have such an incredible team with us. We have just one position to fill right now, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I'm very happy to be working with everybody. And tonight you're going to hear a lot from me. And I hope this is one of the last times I speak this much. I hope to hear more from you in the coming weeks and coming months, but also hear from teachers and leaders within our building that share information with you. I'm going to step aside for just a moment before we get into things, just to give the mic, so to speak, to the PTSO. Amy Lepper has joined us. She's president of the PTSO. So Amy, if you're out there.
I am.
Oh, excellent. Right on cue. I appreciate you. Thanks. Go ahead.
Sure. Do you still have the slides?
I do.
Perfect. You can just leave those up. That'd be awesome. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Lepper. I'm parent to a 4th grader and also PTSO president. Just want to welcome you to what promises to be quite a unique school year. PTSO's goal for this year continues to be supporting the school, staff, students, and their families with a strong focus on creating and building community. We feel this is more important than ever while our kids are distance learning. We are looking into ways to hold community events virtually and are thinking outside the box a bit for ways to creatively introduce some new and fun events. We encourage you to stay connected with us. There's a slide hopefully coming up that shows.
It's up there. Get involved.
I see you. I don't see your presentation, but either way.
Stay connected, and then the next one's get involved.
Okay. Our slide shows the ways you can do that. I'd like to highlight again the new Astor Parent Community Facebook group. This group was started in order to offer a safe space for parents of Astor students to come together with other Astor parents, staff, to ask questions, discussions, share resources. And lastly, if you're looking for ways to get involved, please check out our website for more information. And as always, please reach out to us with any questions, suggestions, or ideas. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Amy. I got a message from people that are helping me out that that went off presentation mode. So I hope it went back on to presentation mode. I'm going to continue on, but these are awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. K. I appreciate the text and let me know. These are our ways that you can get involved with the Astor PTSO. Thanks a lot, Amy. I appreciate it. So here is the piece really that I think you're most interested in this evening. And in order to answer that question of what things are going to look like in the fall, I think it's really important that we step back for a moment and think about where we came to this point, because there's a lot of learning that led up to this. So as you all know, in mid-March, we were thrust into distance learning first for a couple weeks, then to the end of April, and then for the rest of the school year, because of the preponderance of safety and around coronavirus. And so we're in this very unique situation in the spring where it gets into really a survive mode, and we're making a quick shift from in-person learning to distance learning. At that time, we're building a tremendous amount of capacity, not just with instruction and how we complete that digitally, but also with building, making sure that students have access to Chromebooks, families have also internet, Wi-Fi hotspot, or whatever it might be, but also that we're continuing to provide essentials to children and to families during that time. So what that looks like was meal distribution, childcare, mental health supports, and also healthcare itself. And so through all of that, we had a bunch of takeaways. And through that time, we understood the importance of strengthening school and family partnerships, so that communication piece between students, teachers, and with family members. We're increasing our technology, our access to internet, and also students and parents' understanding of all the apps. We're increasing our access to resources, and we understand that small groups can often be very successful, and that's a format that you can expect in the upcoming school year. We also noticed the importance for scheduling and for flexibility, for clear communication, and we also realized that Astor, we were in a unique situation because we were a tech smart school, and we will be one in the fall as well. And so our students had a lot of familiarity with a lot of the learning apps that they learned in distance learning. But you might have also been feeling frustrated and maybe confused, and maybe even at times isolated. And then you had to grapple with that and then come through to have feelings maybe or dispositions of flexibility, providing yourself and others grace, being adaptive, innovative, and of course, making sure to always provide yourself the needed self-care. So I hope that we'll take some of those pieces on with us as we go through this really unprecedented and uncertain school year that's coming up. So I would hope we'd be in different circumstances. I'm in my living room right now giving a meeting that I didn't think I'd be giving in my living room, and you're at home, and maybe your students are around you right now, and it would be really great to be at Astor right now, but based on public safety concerns, we're not able to do that. And even though we had models that were laid out for us by PPS, either a distance learning model with an option of all year 100% distance learning, which will still be an option regardless of what does pan out in the coming quarters, or a hybrid model where we have half students there at a time and half not. We don't have that. We have for all students now online at least through November 5th. And so the school district PPS is working with other health agencies, health officials, the state government to make sure that we make the best public health decision that we can. And so now what? Well, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes. I'm part of a bunch of different work groups in PPS, and they are all working diligently to make sure that not only if we when we do open our doors one day, that the things happen that need to happen to make sure we do that safely, but also there are instructional teams that are working. And I also want to let you know that the district is working with labor groups to make sure that we finalize schedules so that we can share with you in most detail what things are going to look like in this upcoming school year. But at Astor, there's also a ton of work going on. There's school-based teams like the instructional leadership team, and they're thinking through how are we going to be innovative during these times? How are we going to make sure that the high expectations that we have for academic achievement are met in a digital world, and then also making sure that students flourish in those times and we see progress, and that we get teachers the professional development they need in order to be successful. I also want to make sure that you know that the office team is working really hard, albeit remotely, to make sure that classroom assignments are provided to you all in a timely manner, as well as all the other things that come with starting the school year. And the other takeaway here is that I want you to know that there are some things that are district decisions and there are some things that are school decisions. And right now, as you listen to this, it might lack some of the specifics that you'd want to hear, and I totally get that as a parent. And there are district decisions to be made, and they're finalizing those things. My role today, I want to give you all the information that I do have. I have my ear to ground all the time. I'm in the work groups. I'm there asking the questions, and I want to make sure that I get the questions from you. If I don't have an answer for it, and there's a need there, I want to make sure I best advocate so that when it comes time for those decisions to happen, it best fits our kids and our families at Astor. But I don't want to go past the behind the scenes work without acknowledging some incredible work from our facilities and custodial team. Shui, who's our head custodian at Astor, is joined by Jesus and a new member to the team, Jason. And I have to tell you, the building looks incredible. The team, regardless of what the direction was this summer, as the winds blew different directions, they ensured that our building would be ready when needed. So I really want to applaud them for all the work they've done, and all those students will be there in quarter one. I want you to know that the building looks beautiful. So thank you to Shui and her team. So fall, and what does it look like? Well, we want to move from survive to thrive. We want to make sure that our students are thriving academically, socially, emotionally, and that our strong community at Astor continues. That's my vision for it, is that students and parents are still supported. We have an academic rigor, we have academic engagement, and it's high quality. It's supported within the classroom, but then also beyond for students so they get what they need. And we've already started in that planning and preparation. So as I mentioned, that behind the scenes work, that started back in May, really for setting up the pins to making sure that we're going to be successful. We're going to be making sure to get you specific daily, weekly schedules, and it's going to be all really about communication. After this broad, general parent meeting session today for grades 1-5, and then middle school tomorrow, and then we'll have a pretty different meeting for kindergarten families next week. We'll start breaking into smaller, really content-specific meetings that will focus in on specific things from scheduling to maybe family supports that are needed and technology applications that come up. I do want you to know through all this, we have the guidance from our Oregon Department of Ed, and we're following that as well. So resources that will be there will still be meal distribution, and there's also consideration for potential childcare sites. These are all district determinations. We have our mental health supports. We'll have a counselor this coming year, and I'm excited to announce that we are going to, I found out as of yesterday, have a social worker on staff at Astor. This person will link families with important resources, and I think in these uncertain times, we definitely will need that person on campus. So I'm excited to have that person join our team when they're hired. We also want to make sure that we're continuing to partner with culturally specific communities in support of Black, Native, and our students of color, students and families, of course. So I know some things and I don't know some things, but I want you to see kind of a timeline of really some of the progress. Throughout all this, though, I want you to know that PPS has indicated that 100% online option is going to be available to students and their families. And there are some dates down here below. I'm hoping to be able to share with you, even as soon as like next week, some more specifics around some of the scheduling. I'll show you an example tonight, but I hope to share with you more specifics as the weeks unfold and the days unfold. So August 14th, you should be receiving a notification, hopefully going out by Remind, about your student's classroom assignment. Prior to the 27th, families are going to begin receiving tech. So if you're a family who wasn't with us at March or in the spring, you'll get tech. And if you're a family who needs maybe a repair for a Chromebook, you'll be getting tech during that time too. There's also consideration for how do we train families in this digital platform. So there's work groups going on right now to make sure that we don't only just have the instructional videos, but also even call centers set up so that families can access help when they need it. I also want to mention that kinder and first grade students will be getting touchscreen Chromebooks, so that will really better support with some of the tools that they need to access for learning applications. On August 27th, teachers are going to be returning from spring break, And then over the coming days from there, they're going to begin reconnecting with families, being able to identify what needs there might be, but also just to say hello. We've got a lot of work in building relationships coming up. In the spring, we already knew our students and our families when we went into distance learning. And so we need to take time during those first days of school to make sure that those relationships are built. So September 2nd is the start of school, and the district is calling that a soft start. I'll describe what that looks like in a moment, but for grades 1 through 8, attendance will begin, and I'll talk a little bit about attendance in a second too. September 14th brings the beginning of that core content instruction, and then on October 10th, we hope to hear a decision about Quarter 2 and distance learning. So I just mentioned attendance, and attendance will start to be kept, and that will be through a couple different ways, but some of the details are still emerging. So we anticipate that attendance will be kept through Google Meet, or actually the submitting daily assignments or work. I definitely have heard from families, and I know even myself, just around the needs for flexibility. And so how do we accommodate that? And so that's something that we're going to build on from some of the work from the spring, and ensuring that we have that flexibility to support students' families. I also want to stress here that not only is attendance essential for achievement, but attendance is also really essential for school funding and resources. And so in order to offer our students and our families a robust program at Astor, it really does depend on student enrollment. And with that student enrollment comes the funds that we receive. So I'm going to encourage you to keep your students enrolled at Astor. I believe in the community. I believe in the strength of the community. If you have any questions and want to talk through any decisions that you're trying to make, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'll have Tara, if you can just type in my email address in the comments, that'd be awesome. I'm available in a lot of different ways, but I definitely want to make sure that you're able to reach out to me if needed. So what will tech look like this school year? Well, we're going to have platforms that look somewhat similar to parents who were in K2 last year. It's an application, a platform called Seesaw. And Seesaw allows for a little bit more flexibility in how students interact with assignments, post assignments, interact with each other and the teacher. And so I'm really hopeful about this, and that it's going to K5. I think it's a great platform that we'll see a lot of strength there. Our tech IT for PPS will be providing some of that instructional video piece and that support. And again, parents will get that, and students will also receive that instruction from their teachers on that first couple weeks of that soft start of school. And our middle schoolers are going to be utilizing Canvas. The great thing there is that they're going to be continuing to utilize that as they become high schoolers too. So whatever they learn in middle school, they'll take with them. Through all that, I want to make sure that you know that there is training available for all those pieces and consideration for that. So Will Learning, and one question I'm getting, and one of the things actually that teachers are coming to me a lot about is there a way to get materials to our students? And while there was distribution of some things in the spring, we're looking to develop more of a robust delivery system this upcoming school year. So we have ability through verification forms and to develop a school directory. And so in your verification form, there's a way to opt out of a school directory. So if you would not like our volunteer organization, Astor PTSO, to deliver items, then you can opt out of that, and you can have administration or teachers be the sole delivery people for things that might come out. But we also have pickup opportunities too. So those things might look like paper packets, worksheets, school materials, art materials, library books, and textbooks. I know that library books will be huge for our kids. So developing a system for students checking out library books is definitely a goal for us in the coming in the first quarter for sure. So that first week, I mentioned soft start, and prior to August 27th, building our capacity with having Chromebooks, having Wi-Fi hotspots to families and that training that they're going to need. But then teachers come back on August 27th, and then soon after they begin that family engagement. We're really hoping also to be able to start utilizing some of the training I've heard about that's happened in the school throughout the district this summer with socially distant home visits and also family visits to school. I'm hoping that our families will be able to participate into that. And on September 2nd, we'll have the beginning of school. So we'll have synchronous whole class activities and social and emotional learning, as well as instruction around some of those online learning apps, as well as Seesaw itself. The great thing about some of these platforms is, as parents, it's going to help us stay in tune with what's going on with our students' assignments, knowing their progress on things, and then help even with communication with our teachers. And you might all be wondering, and I'm sure you are, because I'm a parent, I'm thinking about this, what will the day look like? I mentioned synchronous just now, and there's another term also that's important to know about. It's asynchronous. Synchronous is live video happening at a scheduled time learning. And so that might look like this. This is a synchronous conversation right now. If I would record this and show it at a different time, that would be asynchronous. So asynchronous is whenever a student is working independently on teacher-directed lessons or something that's been created. And so this coming fall, you can expect a combination of those things and a consideration for screen time and a consideration for the duration of time that we have students engage in activities. So components, though, would be like core content. There'll actually be built into the schedule student breakfast times, lunch times, but also times for tiered support, which would look like intervention for students that need support with academics, math, writing, reading, whatever the needs might be. Teachers will also have built into their schedules times for school-family partnerships. So that'll be outreach, reaching out to families, ensuring families have what they need. If there's any confusion or any questions, that we address those things right away. Here is an example in the most recent school board meeting yesterday evening. It's Wednesday, yesterday evening. This is a sample schedule for a first grade student. Now, I need you to know the asterisk on this is that actual times may vary based on school schedule, but I also say that based on all the negotiations, all the agreements around scheduling occurring right now between district and labor unions. So there's the caveat to that, but this is a sample schedule, and you'll see pieces in it from classroom meeting to the core contents, and even allowing time for specials and for lunch and recess. And there is no duration right here for synchronous or asynchronous time or computer time versus paper time. But what I want you to know is that considerations for that will be made based on really the appropriate age level for students. So what about those things that make school fun? And those things are huge for me. I know for all of our students, they're super excited about figuring out ways that they can get in contact with each other and that they can make sure that we continue that rich school community that we have at Astor. So we're going to continue parades. Our staff from Astor put on some amazing parades, and so you can expect those. Character assemblies are great ways that we can utilize Google Meet to do streaming, so we can have more viewable and more easy to interact character assemblies. We'll have student celebrations and showcases. PTSO is working diligently, like Amy said, to work on what events can be translated over to, transferred over to the virtual world. And of course, weekly updates, video updates, and student affinity groups such as GSA. We want to keep those things going. There are definitely considerations for SPED and for TAG. I am advocating for district meetings on those, and those things are in formations right now. And so more information is going to be coming on those and scheduled, and I'll make sure that you get that information. And there is some information that I'll be included on the parent frequently asked questions as well. And that resource is going to be provided after I gather questions that I'm not able to answer, or questions that I didn't get to answering, or even questions that I did answer on this frequently asked question sheet that you'll have access to by the end of this week. I hope to get that to you with classroom assignments this Friday. So I named this a little bit Town Hall, and this will look very different than normal. But I do want to be able to answer some questions that you all might have. In a moment, I'm going to come off of my screen presentation mode, and that and then I'll be able to hopefully make some eye contact, but I'm also going to keep a Padlet open. If you don't happen to have that Padlet open, Tara Brown is going to go ahead and paste that into the comments right now. And then there's also a QR code that's there that you can hold up your phone with the camera on, and it will scan that and it will send you directly to that Padlet. And then I have a couple prompts there, and you can add to this Padlet. Now, just to let you know, Padlet is one of the ways in which teachers are going to use some of the online learning tools to collaborate with students in the classroom. Even in the course of putting this Padlet together for you all today, I learned a ton about Padlet. So there's a lot of different ways to use this learning tool so that we can support collaboration even in the distance learning world. One other thing I want to note, and I don't think I called it out enough, is that teachers, I mentioned teachers already asking me, how do we get materials there? When can I get into the building to get my document camera so I can bring it home and I can utilize that? I know that I'll teach better with that. And as I get teachers those things, I also want you to know that teachers are really hard work right now. You have an incredible group of educators that is thinking through how to best provide high quality instruction, even in a distance learning world. And I would say that there's a teacher institute this week into next week where our teachers are learning some of these these distance learning platforms, the learning apps, and also learning about how to best meet the needs of students given the abrupt ending to spring. So our district is doing a lot of tailoring to content standards. And so teachers are learning about those things this week. We'll bring that back into the building as soon as we are all together on August 27th. And then we'll really start synergizing. What is that going to look like at Astor?